Hafade and good evening and welcome to PNC's News First. We're broadcasting live from the Akanta. I'm Janella Carrera. Topping your News First tonight, the Guam Memorial Hospital is refusing to fork over documents PNC requested via the Freedom of Information Act. Specifically, we asked GMH for copies of contracts for employee physicians for the last 4 years. GMH provided contracts, but not the ones we asked for. PNC sent its FOIA request to GMH on February 28th, with the hospital administration responding to our request by March 16th. The first item in our FOIA was for, quote, contracts for all GMHA contracted or GMHA employee physicians for the last 4 years, end quote. In their response, GMH provided us with over 90 contracts for independent contractor physicians or clinics, but they refused to provide contracts for employee physicians, meaning those who are on regular GMH payroll and receive GovGuam benefits. Their reason? The hospital cites Section 10108 of the Sunshine Reform Law that says, quote, nothing in this chapter shall be construed to require the disclosure of records that are any of the following: personnel, medical, or similar files, the disclosure of which would constitute an unwarranted invasion of personal privacy, end quote. It appears GMHA is using this section to protect the information of the contracts of employee physicians. GMH even cites a section of that same law that says, quote, all information regarding salary, the name and worksite mailing address of each employee and public official shall be public record, end quote. But even that information for employee physicians was not provided. We even offered for GMH to redact sensitive or personal information, which they did when they handed over the independent contractors list. But for employee physicians, they completely refused to provide any documentation, even with redacted information. We should note that GMH has, in the past, publicly released the contract for its CEO. Although not an employee physician, a CEO would still fall under the category of, quote, personnel, medical, or similar files, which GMH claims is protected. Meanwhile, a resolution introduced by Democrat Senator Dennis Rodriguez calling for an investigation into GMH's hiring practices, among other issues, has not moved forward because, according to Senator Rodriguez's spokesman, Troy Torres, his colleagues have not yet voted on the resolution. In other news, one of the most controversial witnesses in the case against the couple accused of attempting to smuggle $2 million worth of methamphetamine into the island took the stand today. PNC's Jolene Toves reports.
Henry Alvin Dia has been described by the government and defense counsels as a corrupt government official, having been convicted on charges related to receiving bribes in his capacity as a customs and quarantine agent. While legal parties agree on this, what they don't agree on is the motive Alvin Dia allegedly had in assisting the government to bring down accused drug traffickers Juanita Moser and Raymond Martinez. The defense has stated that his assistance to the government was fueled by a sweetheart plea deal, and that he was inclined to create a crime rather than to deter one, even going as far as stating that Alvin Dia was protected by law enforcement and framed the couple. Despite being a corrupt government official, Alvin Dia is the government's key witness in the case, as he served as an informant, setting up meetings and allegedly assisting in the planning to bring 8 pounds of methamphetamine to Guam from California. These meetings were documented through video and audio recordings. On the stand, Alvin Dia recalled being confronted by federal law enforcement officers for his corruption case and immediately began to cooperate with the government. Based on the charges, Alvin Dia was facing up to 20 years behind bars, and he knew that cooperating would help him bring down his sentence. According to Alvin Dia, he told authorities about Martinez and Moser, stating, quote, of course I wanted to help myself. I had a lot of charges. I was approached in the past by the defendants and I wanted to come clean, end quote. But Alvin Dia's testimony was only a means to present and decipher what the government perceives as the more incriminating evidence, the recordings between the three. The government shared videos depicting Moser, Martinez, and Alvin Dia. In one instance, Martinez is heard telling Alvin Dia, quote, "Let me know if there is a window to do anything. We are always down. We have just been doing what you said. Lay low," end quote. The recording also allegedly depicts the three speaking about conversations with the source, which Martinez was allegedly introduced to through his mother. Martinez stated, quote, "How I started out was I asked what was the best ride to use. They knew what I was talking about. The first thing they asked was about the machines in Guam," end quote. In another instance, Alvin Dia questioned Martinez's motive, to wit, he stated, quote, "Everybody needs cash," end quote. The conversation then goes into the alleged planning to smuggle the drugs. As Alvin Dia tells the two, he will be going to California to buy a jacuzzi. In the recording, Martinez states, quote, "Are you clear from work? You're not under the spotlight?" end quote. The three then talk about the packaging and matching the consistency, further stating that they would only be able to bring in 4 packages. But at no time during the recording do any of the three explicitly say the conversation is about methamphetamine. On the stand, Alvin Dia testified that it was implied, and they all knew what they were talking about. Reporting for PNC News, I'm Jolene Toves.
All right, thanks, Jolene, for that report. Well, in another federal case, 2 men are behind bars after authorities busted them during a sting operation involving over 114 grams of ice. Federal court documents charge Jarrett Leon Guerrero and Jesse Leon Guerrero with attempted possession of methamphetamine with intent to distribute. Homeland Security explains in an affidavit that on Tuesday this week, a package came through FedEx with suspected crystal methamphetamine or ice. It was addressed to a residence in Hagåtña that has been known to have received illegal drugs in the past. Federal agents removed the narcotics and replaced it with a sham product sprayed with clue spray and outfitted with an electronic monitoring device that would indicate when the package was opened. The package was delivered the next morning at the Hagåtña residence, where Jarrett allegedly accepted the package. Later that afternoon, a breach signal went off, indicating the package had been opened. Federal agents swooped in, where they found Jarrett and Jesse, a woman, and 2 minor children. The woman was cleared after a black light test cleared her of traces of the clue spray. However, Jarrett and Jesse's hands lit up under the black light, indicating that the two handled the sham product. During a raid of the residence, authorities say they also found drug paraphernalia. Both were booked and confined. Also on News First, the Vatican appears to have amended its announcement in reaching a verdict against former Guam Archbishop Anthony Apparon. When they first made the shocking announcement last Friday, an English translation referred to the canonical charges as, quote, "the canonical trial of minors," end quote. The English translation has since been updated to instead read, quote, "the canonical trial in the matter of accusations, including accusations of sexual abuse of minors," end quote. There had been some confusion as to what Apparon had been found guilty of, especially in light of the Vatican tribunal finding him guilty of, quote, certain of the accusations. Although it has generally been known that the ousted archbishop was facing child sex abuse allegations, the new translation now makes it clear and official that Apparon was found guilty of sexually abusing minors. 4 victims testified for a deposition hearing during the canonical trial. They are Roy Quintanilla, Walter Denton, Roland Sondia, and Doris Concepcion on behalf of her late son, Joseph Sonny Canata. All 4 victims say Apparon sexually assaulted them at the Mount Carmel Church in the 1970s. A 5th accuser came forward earlier this year. Mark Apparon, who is the nephew of the former archbishop, claims his uncle raped him during a family gathering at the Chancery in Hagåtña Heights. All 5 victims have filed civil claims in federal court against Apparon and the Archdiocese of Hagåtña. Well, the Estimbo Fire Station and Dedido swimming pool may have to reopen soon. GURA has written to Adelup and to the Guam Fire Department, reminding them that both the Estimbo Fire Station and the Dedido swimming pool were built using community development block grants. Under U.S. housing and urban development regulations, Facilities built using CDBG funds will have to remain eligible under perpetuity, meaning the facilities must be used for its intended purpose, which is to benefit low-income housing families. GURA Executive Director Mike Dueñas said the letter sent to the governor's office and to the fire department was simply a reminder of this requirement and to find out how long Guam plans to keep the two facilities closed. Dueñas says if the units will not be used as a fire station or swimming pool, then Guam must find an alternative eligible use for the facilities or sell the properties at fair market value and put the proceeds back into the CDBG fund. The fire station and swimming pool were among those shut down by Guam as a result of the $67 million budget shortfall the island is facing. And the government of Guam could actually be closer to $86 million short on revenues for this fiscal year than the previously estimated $67 million shortfall. The February Consolidated Revenue and Expenditure Report, or CRER, shows that Guam is tracking a $65.7 million shortfall, which is close to the estimated $67 million shortfall that has been predicted by government officials. In addition to this $65.7 million shortfall, it appears that $19 to $20 million of the reported individual income taxes may actually be money that should go toward the Additional Child Tax Credit, or ACTC. Speaker B.J. Cruz wrote a letter to Bureau of Budget and Management Research Director Lester Carlson in January, noting that the October and November CRER reports appear, quote, to include an additional 19 to 20 million that is suspected to be the inclusion of additional child tax credit in the tracking for individual income taxes. The Speaker's office confirms that they still believe the February CRER report includes this $19 to $20 million as revenues. If this amount is indeed for child tax credits, then it would be an expense, which, if added to the $65.7 million shortfall that the CRER is currently tracking, it would increase Guam's shortfall to about $85.7 million. A total of 4 individuals have been arrested in connection with 2 separate burglary cases. The first case involves the burglary of a vehicle on March 9th, in which security camera footage caught a woman entering the backseat of an unsecured vehicle in the parking lot of La Familia Mart and retrieving something from the vehicle. The woman was identified as Doña Marie Tenorio. In the video, which circulated on social media, a man identified as Anthony Jesus Unkenko accompanied Tenorio and was depicted entering the store after the victim. According to GPD spokesperson Sergeant Paul Tapau, police recognized the vehicle driven by Unkenko at the time of the incident and conducted a traffic stop. Police arrested both individuals in charges of burglary to a motor vehicle. In the second case, an investigation into 2 burglaries in Jigo, which occurred in February, led officers to the work site of Dexter Warren Cabrera. Tapau says that surveillance footage from one of the burglaries and information about the whereabouts of Cabrera helped to locate him. Cabrera was arrested for burglary, theft of property, attempted burglary, criminal trespass, criminal mischief, conspiracy to commit burglary, and guilt established by complicity. All individuals were booked and confined. And in other news, a purse snatcher is on the loose and police are asking for your help. Do you recognize this man pictured in the photo? Well, according to GPD spokesperson Sergeant Paul Tapau, he is responsible for snatching a woman's purse as she entered Payless supermarket at the Micronesia Mall. Police say after snatching the purse, the suspect fled toward the bus depot parking lot, where he then fled on a moped. The suspect is described as being Pacific Islander with a mustache and having a medium build. He was wearing a black ball cap, white and black long sleeve shirt, and camouflage board shorts. If you have any information about the case or the identity of the suspect, you can call 472-8911. Well, the Melissa Crab Festival is this weekend at the Maritzo Pier, and you don't want to miss it. Mayor Ernest Chargaloff brought some live land crabs to Tumon right here at the Akanta for the first time, where they got to see the K57 studio in Akanta and meet K57's Patty Arroyo. There's Clint Rigel. The 2018 Guput Chamorro Melissa Crab Festival will feature various local vendors and local food, including Melissa's famous stuffed crab, or kahit panglao. There are also fun cultural-themed games like Taladza throwing contests, tuba drinking contests, and the famous running of the crabs. Every year, the Maritza Mayor Chargaloff and his staff release thousands of land crabs onto the festival grounds to allow people the chance to catch these crabs. Whatever you catch, and whoever catches the most wins a cash prize.
The biggest spectacle is the release of the crabs, man. That's I equate the release of the crabs to the run of the bulls in Spain, where everybody's spinning around the crab trying not to get bit. For those that never come down, they're missing a, they're missing a spectacle.
Go down. It's beautiful.
And to those that always come down, I'm inviting them again. So.
It's going to be a great weekend. It always is. The weather's going to be nice. Get an opportunity to say hello to the mayor and say hello to Clint Michelle. Find him. What's the name of the concession? Is there like a name for?
We just have a sign that says stuffed crab.
There it is.
Yes.
Stuffed crab night.
All right, you guys got to check it out. I've actually tried that myself, and it's a lot of fun. Well, the Crab Fest begins tonight at 6:30 and will continue on Saturday at 10 a.m. until midnight and Sunday from 10 a.m. until 10 p.m. Well, get ready for a special snowy treat at Snow Monster, Guam's newest dessert shop to open its doors right here in Tumon. Ariel Masterenko is originally from California, so when she came out to Guam to be with her father, she noticed that Guam was missing something. So the father-daughter duo got together and designed the Snow Monster after trendy California dessert shops, developing something for every sweet tooth. Here is a sneak peek at the menu.
We offer a lot of stuff, I think, in a way of desserts. We have a lot of handcrafted ice creams, which is probably one of our most popular things. People love them. We make them all in-house. So we usually use a lot of fresh, like strawberries, mango, stuff like that, cookies, stuff that we mix into our ice cream. Just do some different flavors. So we have one of our most popular stuff, Cookie Monster. It's a bright blue, and then we put Oreos and chocolate chip cookies inside. And yeah, so that's definitely one of the favorites. It turns your mouth a little bit blue, so be warned while you eat it.
But ice cream isn't the only thing on the menu. There is also customizable macarons and freshly baked donuts, which of course are topped with, you guessed it, ice cream. Tomorrow they're celebrating their grand opening from 1 to 3 p.m. with special treats and offers for customers. Some of the specials include offers, buy one, get one free on certain menu items, or a special treat for purchases exceeding a certain amount. And there will also be surprises for the kids, so bring your whole family down. And again, like Ayana said, don't forget to check out Akanta tomorrow for the Mess Tomorrow First Annual, and on Sunday, the Lip Dub Middle School Challenge will be, the winners will be announced. So we hope to see you at these two SMG events. Well, that's it for News First. From all of us here at PNC, thanks for watching. Have a good night. Enjoy.